Conversation. America has never seen a stage full of black folk talking about the urgency of now. Climate justice, climate equity, climate resilience. It's going down Tuesday, June 18th, 4 to 7 p.m. at the California Science Center in Exposition Park. Admission is free, but you must register at KBLA1580.com. Once we reach capacity, you'll have to watch us on C-SPAN. But if you want to be in the room when we go live from Los Angeles, Tuesday, June 18th, head to KBLA1580.com right now to reserve your seat. Caring about the climate, caring about the community. With KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
I believe up there. Hey!
My people.
Yeah.
My people.
Yeah.
The foundation of the United States rests on the sweat of my people. Every enemy of the USA has had to face my people on the front
line. People, my people are dying, and we see it all the time. Don't know where our future would be if he's not here. How do we stay strong? Only we can save us from what? Oh, yeah. Think about change. Show our people love. Oh, yeah. My people, hold your head up.
I love my people. I love my people. And I'm delighted to sit in this chair every day to help usher us through a conversation about the things that matter to our people. I'm always pleased, humbled, and honored to be in conversation with our friend and brother, Ben Crump, a noted attorney. He is back on this program, thankfully, to discuss the latest developments in the Roger Fortson case. You know the case of the airman who was shot and killed by sheriff deputy in Florida. The funeral held this weekend in Atlanta. Here now, just about 40 seconds of sound. It's a variety of pieces here, but just some sound from this funeral over the weekend.
As you can see from the sea at Air Force Blue, I'm not alone in my admiration of Senior Airman Fortson.
We gotta call it as it is. Roger died of murder. He died of stone-cold murder, and somebody has got to be held accountable.
The Reverend Jamal Bryant speaking at the funeral this weekend of Roger Fortson in Atlanta, shot and killed by a sheriff's deputy in Florida. Ben Crump, always good to hear your voice, my friend. What say you about this case at this point?
You know, Tavis, thank you so much for having me on to talk about this very, very important case. You know, I don't know where our people can be safe from police excessive force, Tavis. I mean, this harkens back to Botham Jean being in his apartment in Dallas, Texas, eating a bowl of ice cream, watching football. Mm-hmm. It harkens back to Breonna Taylor sleeping in her bed at 1 a.m. in the morning in Louisville, Kentucky, having her front door kicked in. Tavis, it harkens back to Atiana Jefferson babysitting her 8-year-old nephew, minding their own business in her house, and the police shooting and killing her. I mean, and Roger Fortson, I mean, you couldn't have had a more exemplary young man. I mean, he came from the hood. His mother and them explained it like where we're from, many people don't make it out. He had made it out. Not only did he make it out, but he was in the military living his dream in the Air Force to become a pilot. But in living his dream, he was trying to make the dream of the having an opportunity, the American dream for his 10-year-old sister Harmony and his 14-year-old brother Andre real. And he was doing everything you could do. And it's so personal to me, Tavis, because I was raised by a single parent, and I know what he meant to his family and the hope he gave, not just his life, but generations of his family. And that officer, you watch that video, Tavis Smiley, you ain't got to take Ben Crump word for it. That officer in a state like Florida that promotes everybody availing themselves to the Second Amendment, everybody having a gun. I mean, and he was a licensed, registered gun owner, trained by the military. That officer, in less than 2 seconds, with Roger complying, he told Roger to step back and look at the video. Roger stepping back, and he executed him at point-blank range, 6 bullets. And even on the ground, Roger was trying to comply because he didn't say, drop your weapon until after he shot Roger. And he said, drop your weapon, drop your gun. And Roger said, it's over there. I don't have it. And then his girlfriend, thank God, was on FaceTime with him, or we don't know what version of the story we would have got, Tavis Smiley. And you hear on the FaceTime video, he's saying, I can't breathe. And you still hear the officer barking orders to him, talking about, don't move. And it's one of the tragedies that is right up there in my mind with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Tyree Nichols and so many others. And we have to get justice because, Tavis, they were at the wrong apartment.
Yeah. Ben Crump, as always, has laid out the case beautifully. When we come forward, I want to go right to the point that Ben Crump makes now. I got chills just sitting here listening to Ben run that list. It reminds you of this. It harkens back to this. It takes you back to this. It brings up the thought of this. He laid that list out of all these folks. And this ain't 100 years ago. Ben Crump laid out some names of people in contemporary times who have been subject to being in the wrong place at the wrong time. I want to ask Ben directly when we come forward about the killing of Roger Fortson and whether or not it exposes a fatal double standard for black gun owners. He made the point. I want to interrogate it when we come forward. So pleased to have Ben Crump right now on Tavis Smiley.
This is getting good.
Yeah, man.
Tavis Smiley continues when we come forward.
Hey y'all, Mona Swain here from Target's new YouTube series, My Cart is Full, where we feature black founders and creators highlighting their connection to our community. As an actor and content creator, I love using my voice to inspire young black women who look like me. When it comes to feeding my shine, seeing myself reflected in black-owned and founded products at Target brings me joy. Together, we are Black Beyond Measure. Learn more at target.com/blackbeyondmeasure.
Cookie wants to be a professional wrestler.
I'm Cookie Serratos and I'm 11 years old.
She also wants to win all the medals. That's why Cookie and her family make every day count, squeezing out her best with Go-Go Squeeze.
Okay, Cookie, let's break for a Go-Go Squeeze.
Go-Go Squeeze fruit-on-the-go pouches are a nutritious snack made from 100% fruit with no sugar added.
Go, Cookie!
Because when you nurture your kids, you squeeze out the best in them. Squeeze out the best with Go-Go Squeeze. Not a low-calorie food. Products range from 11 to 13 grams of sugar and 60 to 70 calories per serving.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.com.
I'm going out with the girls this weekend. Nails done, outfit stunner, and my skin, I know it's gonna be glowing because I glammed up my shower routine with new Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash. It smells so luxurious and moisturizes deep into my skin with its super rich, creamy lather that's bursting with vitamin B3. So my skin glows and my confidence grows. Try new Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash for glowing skin in just 14 days.
Hi, this is Quentin. A little thing I love about Chick-fil-A chicken strips are how satisfying they are. The chicken strips are amazing. They're always filling, crispy, tender, and juicy. Definitely one of my favorite things on the menu. Especially when you add in that Chick-fil-A sauce. Always the perfect combination. And then personally, you know me, I'm getting a 4 count. I want as much chicken as possible. I'm that guy. Whenever I get them, whether it be lunch or for dinner, in my household, it's always a winner.
Order the chicken strips on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real customer paid for their testimonial.
Who do you trust to get at the truth?
Tavis Smiley.
That's who. The conversation continues right now.
It does indeed. Always delighted to be in dialogue with our dear brother, Ben Crump, famed attorney, and talking, for the moment at least, about this Roger Fortson case. You know that over the weekend he was funeralized in Atlanta after being shot and killed by a sheriff's deputy, Ben Crump. If you've not seen the video, you should check it out for yourself. As he said, don't take his word for it. Watch the video for yourself and watch the barking of these orders by this sheriff's deputy and when the gun was dropped and when he was shot. And the video, again, tells the story. And yet, before I play I want to play a clip here, Ben. Before I do that, though, what say you as our attorney in these cases when there's video and you still have to convince people that what they saw is, in fact, what they saw? We lost Ben. There he's calling back. We lost Ben's phone line. Everybody's dropping phone lines today. We lost Sabrina and first hour, and we lost Ben, but I think he's back now. But I want to ask Ben about the videotape and how difficult it is oftentimes to convince juries that what they saw really did go down, and that their eyes aren't playing tricks on them. Ben, you were talking earlier about the video, and I was saying a moment ago that sometimes even when there's video, I'm thinking now, I'm doing the Ben Crump. You ran the list of all these cases in the past that this Roger Fortson case reminds you of. I'm thinking of Rodney King over 30 years ago. We saw the videotape. And those 4 white cops here in Simi Valley in Southern California still got off. So you detailed, you've seen it, we've seen the videotape in the Roger Fortson case, and yet it ain't a foregone conclusion, is it?
Not at all, Tavis, and you're a great co-counsel, so thank you for making the case with me. You know, the reality, like I said with George Floyd, I don't care how vivid the video is, you can never take for granted as a person of color, especially as a black person in America, that you're going to get equal justice. Tavis, I don't even know if they're going to arrest this police officer. They are trying to, argue all these things about, well, it was self-defense. And that's the first thing they said, Tavis. And we heard that before. We heard that with the white policewoman with Botham Jean. What did she say? Well, it was in self-defense. But you were in their apartment. You were coming to their castle. And if we have a right to be safe, it's the sanctity of our own home. We got a Fourth Amendment right against unlawful searches and seizures. So this gets even deeper, Tavis, because the apartment complex leasing office representative, we believe, gave them the wrong address in the first place. But to answer your question directly, what we cannot assume that the officer is going to be arrested, and we can't assume that he's going to be convicted, because I think before break we talked about this double standard that exists in America with the Second Amendment constitutional protections as it relates to white Americans and black Americans. When black people have guns, the police seem to say, we're going to assume that you're a criminal, that you're dangerous, and we're going to shoot first and ask questions later. And then you scratch your head, Tavis, and say, well, where's the NRA in this? All these advocacy groups that champion the right for every American to have a gun and to stand their ground, and, you know, it's my God-given right for the Second Amendment, like the Second Commandment. But they're crickets, Tavis. When it's a black person, I don't care how good he is. And, boy, Roger Fortson was a patriot if there ever was one. Yeah. So where is the NRA?
Speaking of the NRA, they've been crickets on this, but they've not been crickets on the presidential race. I'm going to tee that up and get to that in a second. You may have heard over the weekend that the NRA has endorsed, wait for it, Donald Trump. The NRA has endorsed Donald Trump as he vows to protect gun rights. So Ben's point is well taken. They've been crickets on the Roger Fortson case, not so much on politics. We'll talk about and get Ben's take on the NRA endorsing Trump in a moment. I also want to play in a few seconds here a clip from Joe Biden. We talked in our last hour about the president being in Morehouse over the weekend for that commencement. He had something to say about black men being shot in this country. We'll hear Joe Biden talking to black men at Morehouse and the nation in a moment. But first, as I promised, I want to ask a quick question, Ben. Since you teed it up, I want to follow you about whether or not the killing of Roger Fortson exposes a fatal double standard for black gun owners. Let me just read two short paragraphs from my friend Jarvis DeBerry, who wrote a powerful opinion piece for MSNBC. You can find it on msnbc.com. Read it for yourself, but just a couple sentences from Jarvis's piece. On May 3rd, almost 8 years after a Minnesota police officer shot dead Philando Castile, a black motorist who dutifully informed the officer of his firearm, a Florida sheriff's deputy shot dead Roger Fortson, a black 23-year-old senior Air Force airman who answered the banging on his door with his legally owned pistol pointed at the floor. In our country, Jarvis DeBerry writes, guns are consistently marketed as necessary for one's protection. However, the reflexive killing of Castile and Fortson by law enforcement officers is a reminder that many have trouble perceiving a black man as being in need of protection. Instead, a black man with a weapon is visually interpreted as a threat. Close quote. Your thoughts, Ben Crump, on the double standard for black folk when they have guns in their hand, legally?
No, it couldn't be more clear. I mean, you can just go with example after example. I'm thinking about Corey Jones, the black man who broke down on the side of the road in West Palm Beach, Florida, and how the officer shot and killed him because, Tavis, they just, even though they promote the Second Amendment, they really don't feel it should apply to us if you look at their actions, not the theoretical things they say, but the reality of how they shoot us the moment they see us have a gun. I mean, everybody's asking the question, Tavis Smiley. Everybody's asking it. If Roger Fortson would have been a decorated senior airman who happened to be white, would that officer have shot him?
Nope. That part, as we say, the question doesn't need to be, it's not a rhetorical question, but we all know the answer. We all know the answer. And Ben's right. Everybody's asking that question. Here now some sound from President Biden this weekend at Morehouse's graduation.
It's not easy. I know 4 years ago, as some of your speakers have already mentioned, it felt like one of those Saturdays. The pandemic robbed you of so much. Some of you lost loved ones, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, who aren't able to be here to celebrate with you today. You missed your high school graduation. You started college just as George Floyd was murdered, and there was a reckoning on race. It's natural to wonder if democracy you hear about actually works for you. What is democracy? If black men are being killed in the street, what is democracy? The trail of broken promises still leave black communities behind. What is democracy? You have to be 10 times better than anyone else to get a fair shot. And most of all, What does it mean, as we've heard before, to be a black man who loves his country, even if it doesn't love him back in equal measure?
Man, I don't know if this country being is ready to address the questions, but the president posed the right questions, at least in that part of the speech. What is democracy? You heard him do the run. What is democracy? Your thoughts on the words of the president, Ben Crump?
Well, he was giving that speech in Atlanta the day after we funeralized Roger Fortson in his hometown. And the one thing, Reverend Jamal Brown, who did a masterful eulogy, I mean, just so profound. And one thing he said in the eulogy, he said, Roger Fortson sacrificed for his country. He was willing to stand up for America. The question is America not going to stand up for him?
The president referenced in those remarks, Ben Crump, America post the murder of George Floyd, another case that you were obviously intimately involved with. He referenced this reckoning on race in America. And I'm not so sure, for all of our lip service to that America has yet, even after a few years after the murder of George Floyd, given what happened to Roger Fortson, I'm still not sure that reckoning on race the president talked about is actually happening. You?
I do not. You know, we still don't have the passage of the George Floyd Police Reform Act, which, again, Tavis, as we've discussed many times, it wasn't since President Lyndon Baines Johnson, Great Society legislation, that we had meaningful police reform in the United States of America. And think about all the black people who have been killed unjustly since the late 1960s. You know, we thought we were going to get it with Rodney King after the LAPD brutalized him, and it didn't happen. We thought we were going to get it after Michael Brown and Ferguson. They did not do it. You remember Hands Up, Don't Shoot, and that's 10 years in a couple of months. It's hard to believe how much time has passed. And we really thought, Tavis Smiley, we were going to get it after George Floyd was tortured to death on video. And still it hasn't happened. So when is this reckoning going to happen on something as fundamental as police brutality? We ain't even got to the part about, you know, the wealth gap between black America and white America, and the home ownership gap between black America and white America, and those things. When is it going to happen on something as basic as the right to live and not be killed by the people who are supposed to protect and serve you?
That's Joe Biden. Now to Donald Trump. Ben Crump asked moments ago, again, not at all rhetorically, why the NRA has been crickets in this case. Whenever a black person has a gun, they get real quiet. I've said any number of times, somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but I actually mean this. If you really want to solve the gun crisis in this country, just give every Negro a gun. If you want to solve the gun crisis in America, just give every Negro a gun, and this issue would be resolved. The NRA.
I got to interject, Tam.
Yeah.
Hey, it was Malcolm X's birthday on Friday. You know what Malcolm X said when he went there? He said, if they call me down to the draft board to make me, Malcolm said, oh, is this the place where I get to get a gun and I get to be around a lot of white people? And he said, because if that's the place, then sign me up. This is exactly where I want to be. And they said, we don't need you.
No, I recall that, and it is. I'm glad Ben Crump reminds us of that. Yeah, Malcolm said, "This is the spot. Yeah, you're gonna give me a gun around a bunch of white people. Oh yeah, sign me. I'm down with that. Sign me up for that. But again, if you want to solve this crisis, give every Negro in America a gun. This issue will be resolved. But the NRA ain't never called for that. So that when Roger Fortson or Philando Castile or other black men are murdered in cold blood by the cops, possessing guns legally, the NRA, to Ben's point, is crickets. But they are not crickets on endorsing Donald Trump the other day. What say you about that, Counselor?
Well, you know, when you have a president who is preaching racial divisiveness and giving dog whistle proclamations to white supremacists, then I'm not surprised when you look at them never saying a word about Roger Fortsons and Philando Castillo's of the world, that they would support a president who would probably try to justify the killings of all of these black people in their homes, or ones like Roger Fortson, Philando Castillo, Corey Jones, and so many others that we're probably leaving out that were licensed, registered gun owners, but yet the NRA never stepped up to them, never once.
I got 60 seconds, Ben Crump. I'll give it to you. I pray for you all the time. You're my friend. You're my brother. And we text and talk here and there when you have a moment on the run all the time. But you're always on my prayer list. And in part because I know the work that you're doing up close. And I wonder very quickly here how, given all these cases that you always at the forefront of, how do you sustain your hope every day, brother?
Hey, you know, Tavis, I even think about Malcolm and the ancestors who believed, despite everything that was going on, that we going to give our children a better world. And I think about how Ida B. Wells, who I'm sure is one of your heroes and so forth, said, as long as we're in the struggle, Frederick Douglass said, as long as we're in the struggle, then we should rejoice, because without struggle, there could be no progress. And every day I get up and I'm struggling, Tavis, I know my little girl is going to have a better world because our ancestors were able to endure way more than these white supremacists are trying to inflict upon us now. I mean, it's no comparison. So that's how I know without a shadow of a doubt, based on precedent, we going to be all right.
Ben Crump, I'm always grateful to you for taking my phone calls. I'm more grateful for your work and your witness day in and day out on the cases that matter to our people, trying to protect the sanctity and the dignity of black life in this country. I love you. There ain't nothing you can do about it. I'll talk to you soon, my friend.
Hey, you know I love you, King. God bless.
Take care, Ben Crump. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
I'm Ree Harris, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Former President Donald Trump's New York criminal hush money trial is nearing an end. The judge has told defense lawyers and prosecutors to be ready for closing arguments as soon as Tuesday, but that depends on whether Trump testifies. If he does take the stand, that could delay the close of the trial by a few days, but the jury is expected to get the case this week. The container ship that struck a Baltimore bridge will be removed from the site within days. The ship struck the key bridge, leading to a catastrophic bridge collapse. The Boy Scouts of America plans to rebrand to Scouting America next year, allowing gay and transgender scout leaders and members, sparking debate and backlash. And that's the latest. I'm Ree Harris on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Need to hire? You need Indeed. Their end-to-end solution helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all year round. Schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from your Indeed dashboard. Learn more by visiting Indeed.com/credit.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The NBA's Final Four is set. Minnesota shuts down the defending NBA champion Denver Nuggets in 7 games. Minnesota wins Game 7 in Denver. Denver was held to only 38 points in the second half. The Lakers should have been taking notes in this series on how to beat the Nuggets. The T-Wolves will play the Dallas Mavericks in the Western Conference Finals. Game 1 is Wednesday in Minneapolis. In the Eastern Conference, the the Indiana Pacers went into New York and took Game 7. The Pacers and Boston Celtics will meet up for the Eastern Conference title. Game 1 is Tuesday in Boston. Congratulations to Angels manager Ron Washington. The Angels took 2 of 3 from the Rangers in Texas. Washington was the Rangers manager for 7 seasons. Shohei Ohtani delivered a game-winning single in the 10th to give the Dodgers a 3-game sweep over Cincinnati. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis.
Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be a sign that your digestive system isn't working at its best? Taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil fiber powders help promote your daily digestive health using a plant-based fiber called psyllium. The gelling action of this special fiber traps and removes waste so you can feel lighter and more energetic. Metamucil, promoting digestive health for a better you. Learn more at metamucil.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any
I
disease.
spray and scrub, but the soap scum in my bathtub is still there.
I spray and scrub, but the burnt sauce on my stovetop sticks around.
Sprays can leave grime behind, but new Mr. Clean Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser combines the scrubbing power of an eraser with the cleaning power of Dawn to melt away tough messes on contact.
Just wet, squeeze, and erase.
Stop spraying, start erasing, and clean with more magic than ever with new Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
We used to argue about whose turn it was to clean the gutters, but then I had Leaf Filter gutter protection installed.
Wait, I told you Leaf Filter had free inspections and estimates and a lifetime guarantee.
Meaning we never have to argue about whose turn it is to clean the gutters again.
But I visited leaffilter.com/beacon first.
No, I did.
It doesn't matter who. Visit leaffilter.com/beacon to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off today.
See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. 1 discount per household.
When you use Bounce dryer sheets and your clothes look amazing, it's the sheet. Less static in your life? Yeah, it's the sheet. Smelling fresher than ever? It's the sheet. Oh, so soft fabric? Ooh la la. It's the sheet. Less wrinkles on your clothes? You know it's the sheet. Bounce dryer sheets. More freshness, more softness. Less static, less wrinkles. It's the sheet.
Smart talk for curious people just like you. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Dr. Afia S. Zakiya, who is our guest in this half hour as we talk about environmental justice and the black community. We are continuing our series of conversations throughout the year, focusing again on climate and our community. And I am pleased to announce, as I mentioned at the top of the show today, that I would in this half hour. Pleased to announce that we are going back live on C-SPAN. I get asked, I was traveling last week, and everywhere I go, it's been this way for some years now, but everywhere I go, people always ask me, Tavis, when are you going to bring back those symposia that you used to do. Y'all recall every February for years we'd have the State of the Black Union Symposium live on C-SPAN, and black people and Americans and folk around the world would sit at home all day on a Saturday. Morning panel for 3 or 4 hours, afternoon panel 3 or 4 hours, and we would feature all the best and brightest minds in Black America talking about the issues that matter to Black America. I've not done that for some years now, but we are bringing back that forum, as it were. And I'm pleased to announce that on Tuesday, June the 18th, the day before Juneteenth, Tuesday, June 18, 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time, so we're in prime time on a Tuesday night, the 18th of June. We will be convened here live from Los Angeles with an all-star panel, just like we used to, of the most brilliant minds in Black America talking about, as I refer to it, the urgency of now. I stole that from Dr. King, of course, but it is the urgency of now, the issue of climate, and particularly as it relates to our community. We are the disproportionate victims of these climate maladies, these climate catastrophes, and so it might not be a sexy subject, but we need to dig into this and talk about this issue, and we will, from every possible angle, with an all-star panel. I'll tell you more about that in the coming days. All the big names that will be coming to Los Angeles for this national conversation. Once again, I can tell you right now to mark your calendars. You can come to LA if you want to. It's open to the public. It's free, as always, at the California Science Center. It will be the venue this year, the California Science Center. Nice auditorium there, holds a lot of people. So we'll convene there live on C-SPAN June 18, 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 to 7 p.m. on the West Coast. That would make it, 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock Central Time. But again, Tuesday, June 18th, mark your calendars. We're going back live on C-SPAN. More about that in the days to come. But I'm pleased to welcome Dr. Zakiya to this program right now to talk about climate justice in this moment. Dr. Zakiya, let me start with this. To your mind, and you ask this question, you get different answers, or talk to different experts, but to your mind as an expert, as an environmental justice scholar, what is the root of the climate and environmental crisis as we know it today?
Well, greetings, Brother Tavis. That is the right question to ask, of course. As you know, it is an issue that comes down to how we conceptualize challenges and problems in our community. One of my teachers, Dr. John Henry Clark, said, if we are going to be masters of our destiny, we must be masters of the ideas that influence that destiny. And the position that I have come to as a political ecologist, African-centered political ecologist and cultural scientist, is that culture is the issue and problem of culture and the ideas about what it means to be human, what it means for us to be African, and what our relationship should be with each other and nature and ecology that has led us to the current climate crisis that we experience.
Tell me more specifically about the link between culture and climate as I hear you laying out for me now.
Well, culture, as we know, the definition of it is the totality of everything that you do. So all of our human existence is defined by and driven by the cultural beliefs that we have, the worldview that we have about who we are, how we come to know what we know, how we come to view our relationship with each other, with humans, and with nature, our ethics, our concept of beauty, aesthetics. All of these elements of worldview and culture define how we see the world and our place in it.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to,
no, go ahead. Finish your point.
Sorry.
Go ahead, very quickly. Finish your point. Go ahead.
So when it comes to the climate issue, we talk about it. I talk about it in terms of a cultural crisis because it is the values that drive how we live. So, for example, as Africans who have been enslaved and brought to the Americas, we have been imbued with Western liberal culture and values. And that has presented a particular way that we view the world and interact with nature. It has influenced how we perceive what kinds of economic, social, political systems that we, have and create and should live by. But most importantly, it defines a way that we see nature that has taken us away from our indigenous African traditional views.
There are many things as black folk in this country, as Africans in the diaspora, there are many things that we do not control. I want to believe that we still have some control over our own culture. And if I believe that, I could be wrong, and you can disabuse me of that notion. Let me just set this up now. When we come forward, I'll let you respond to it. But here's where I want to go when we come forward. Again, so many things that we don't control in this country. I was just talking to Ben Crump about the ways in which we're put upon by the cops and how they walked into the wrong apartment and killed Roger Fortson, even as he followed their instructions. So many things that we don't control about the lives we live in this country. But I want to believe that at some level we still control our culture. If I'm right about that, then the question is whether or not we are abusing, misusing our agency when it comes to our culture, or whether or not the fact that we are victims, that we are the ones always on the short end of the stick when it comes to these climate catastrophes, these climate maladies, is something that's being done to us. So are we out of control when it comes to our culture and the way we engage with the world and the earth and the environment? Or is this being done to us from the outside? We'll talk about that part when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
You're listening to Tavis Smiley. Ranked number 45 on the Heavy 100 list of the 100 most important radio talk show hosts in America.
What is dedication?
My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction was that my kids wouldn't have a father. And I started thinking, you know what? This isn't my story. I definitely had to become a better man to be a better father. It's important to me that my kids are empowered and truly believe that if they can think it, they can do it.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Joey from Vermont, a farmer trying to get through the winter. Adriana from South Carolina, a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. Liam from Ohio, an injured father struggling to provide for his family. Hi, I'm Shanola Hampton, and I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
KBLA Talk 1580 is the fastest growing talk radio station in Southern California. Home to 50,000 watts and an audience reach of 12 million listeners. KBLA Talk 1580 is a pioneer for black audio content, including our groundbreaking $2 million climate justice campaign and the most loyal, influential audience. According to an independent research study by the polling firm Aviterus, for the second consecutive year, KBLA Talk 1580 is the most trustworthy, reliable, and credible news source for black audiences and beyond in Southern California. Let KBLA Talk 1580 power your advertising dollars. Our omni-channel custom marketing solutions are specifically tailored to connect with your ideal target audience. We leverage audio, podcasts, streaming, digital, social media, and local activations to get your message out to the black community. Get in touch with our advertising team today at advertising@KBLA1580.com. That's advertising@KBLA1580.com. KBLA 1580. We've got you black.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Let's get back to more of Tavis Smiley right now.
More of Dr. Afia S. Zakiya right now as we continue our series of conversations all year long about the climate and our community in particular. Once again, in case you've just tuned in, we announced moments ago that we are returning live to C-SPAN on Tuesday, June the 18th, 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time with another one of those conversations that we all got accustomed to for years. I was honored and humbled to moderate these conversations, featuring a stage full of black thinkers, black influencers talking about the issues of the day, and no issue more important to our community these days than the issue of climate justice. And so a stage full of all-stars, June 18, 7 to 10 p.m. on C-SPAN Live. More about that in the coming days as we move toward that particular date on the calendar, live from Los Angeles, I should add. But you were talking earlier about the culture and our connection to it and the way in which we engage planet Earth. My question was whether or not if we control the culture, we are complicit in this, or whether or not the fact that black people and poor people always seem to be the victims of these climate maladies, whether something is being done to us. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand your question. I'll put it in this way because, there's two sides to the story. Mm-hmm. One is that we, as people of African descent, have to be engaged in the process of Sankofa, of remembering and recovering, our African ideas and identities that our ancestors held since time immemorial, us being the first people on Earth. But secondly, we know that we have been through a process of enslavement and colonization. And the process of colonization rearranges not only your mind, but it also rearranges the land and the built environment and how we perceive almost everything that we do. And so a lot of what we may believe and think about the world and what we are doing, we may think that is our natural way of being, because if you don't know anything else and if you haven't studied African indigenous spirituality, which is really a part of what this conversation is, because communicating African spirituality through ecology and the climate crisis is a part of what my work seeks to do, considering how African people view both humans and nature as spirit, mm-hmm. which is a very spiritual, concept and idea. But so, yes, we have the ability to control how we create our culture. I know there's a lot of talk going on right now about what is the culture. People mm-hmm. are doing things for the culture, mm-hmm. and what does that mean? Yeah. So that means, different things to different people. And so what is your grounding, what is your base for defining what your cultural reality is?
Speaking of doing it for the culture, when we come forward in our remaining moments with Dr. Zakiya, I want to talk specifically about that very quickly, about doing it for the culture. There is an effort to get a federal resolution to Joe Biden. We've talked about the president a number of times in today's program, giving his speech at Morehouse over the weekend. But there's an effort to get a resolution to him to sign to protect many of the historic black towns and black settlements created after emancipation as we move toward Juneteenth. These settlements in these historic towns, many of them face extinction that is. Others suffer from climate and environmental justice issues. They lack water, they lack sanitation. Of course, they lack resources. But what can the president do? What is his responsibility to these historic black spaces in America? And what's he doing about that part? We'll close on that note when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Seeking the truth. Speaking the truth. This is the Tavis Smiley Show.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
My daughter was diagnosed with a rare malignant rhabdoid tumor on the spine. They sent her straight to St. Jude. My hope was gone. But when you get there, everyone's like, hey, we're not going to give up. And when you see other people not giving up on your child, that makes all the difference in the world. When I found out I didn't have to pay, I was just grateful. They saved my baby's life.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
Family Talk with Straight Talk.
You give and you give. It's time to get with Straight Talk Wireless. You get a reliable 5G network and unlimited data, and you get to choose who joins your family plan starting as low as $25 a line. Does it have to be family? It can be family or people you like.
Get more lines and more savings. Switch to Straight Talk for family plan starting as low as $25 a line per month for 4 lines. Find us at Walmart and straighttalk.com. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com. Family plan discount with 4 lines, all on the Silver Unlimited plan. Taxes and fees apply.
Pizza's here. Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want? Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. JD Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. For JD Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
He's rooting for everybody black. Everybody black. More of Tavis Smiley coming your way right now.
Dr. Zakiya, I've only got 3 minutes left here. Let me move very swiftly in these 3 minutes. Talk to me about this resolution I referenced a moment ago to get President Biden to protect many of these historic black towns and settlements that are facing extinction and are suffering from environmental justice issues.
Sure, I'd be glad to. As we know, after our enslavement and the period of Reconstruction or failed Reconstruction in terms of the black community, there were many Africans who set out to create their own communities, their own towns and settlements. The choices were to stay and on the plantation, stay in cities and towns where they weren't appreciated and treated in, humane senses or ways, or to create their own community. So many of our ancestors decided to form their own black towns and settlements across the U.S. Most of them were in Texas. A lot of them are in Oklahoma, Missouri, but there are a lot of them in the South, Florida. We know places like Eatonville, and a community that I have done some work with in Africatown in Mobile was formerly a free settlement formed by the last group of Africans who were enslaved and brought to the United States on the slave ship.
I'm just watching my time here. What's the president being asked to do specifically?
So the president is being asked to sign a resolution to bring the resources that were promised after Reconstruction by the Freedmen's Bureau, to bring resources, and a lot of the resources that have been allocated through the recent infrastructure, climate 40, justice initiatives and other things to these communities, because many of them, like Sand Branch in Texas, for example, do not have sanitation and running water. You'd be surprised how many communities across the United States do not have access to clean, safe water and sanitation services because they are maybe in unincorporated areas and not a part of, formal part of a town. But nonetheless, as a human being, they should have the right to water and sanitation and other services that are needed.
No question about that. And the one thing that we are absolutely in sync about is that we have to be more aggressive, for lack of a better word, more intentional, there's a better word, about protecting and preserving black history. And to your point, there are any number of historic black spaces, towns and settlements and beyond that are now facing extinction because they suffer from these climate issues that have caused such great damage, suffer from a lack of resources to protect these spaces. And again, it's not just protecting black history, it's preserving black history for future generations, and I'm glad that you're on the case in that regard. I'm out of time, but I thank Dr. Afia S. Zakiya for being on this program. Again, one of our many conversations over the course of this year talking about black people and the climate. Dr. Zakiya, thank you for your work and witness. Good to have you on. All the best to you.
Thank you so much. Black agency matters.
Boston Globe film critic Odie Henderson joins us in our third and final hour. Well, get your popcorn ready. We'll talk about some of his picks that should be on your summer movie list. You're listening, and I'm glad about it, to Tavis Smiley.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Ree Harris, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Former President Donald Trump's New York criminal hush money trial is nearing an end. The judge has told defense lawyers and prosecutors to be ready